Rwanda, Somalia, South Africa, South Sudan, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, the Gambia, Uganda, Yemen, and Zambia. The flag of Symbiosis International University will be handed over by the Vice-Chancellor Dr. Rajni Gupte to Francis Wang. The flag of UN will be handed over by the Chancellor Dr. S.B. Majumdar sir to Dr. Veerappa Moily. Thank you very much, sir.
As most of you in the audience know, Symbiosis was started primarily for the welfare of foreign students. And here is our Bhari Malhotra, who knows that. He used to invite foreign students in Pune to his house during Diwali. You know through how many stages this institution has gone. Friends, we deliberately ask foreign students to put those flags in a small urn, thinking that if you give speed and velocity to all those flags and they revolve, a white color will emerge. And the white color stands for peace, which means if all countries can come together and they form a small nest, world peace will be there, and that is the symbol of world peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. M. Veerappa Moily, former Law Minister of India and Chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, is well known for his widely successful economic reforms, his efforts to improve irrigation and power systems, and changes in education systems of Karnataka. He is the former Union Minister of Law, Justice and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and also the former Chief Minister of the state of Karnataka. Dr. Veerappa Moily has also received honorary doctorates from Mangalore University and from the Russian Academy. I now welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Veerappa Moily, to address the gathering.
Good evening to all of you. Our esteemed, distinguished educationists who has revolutionized and also rendered greatest service to the cause of education, Professor Dr. S.P. Majumdar ji, our legendary figure in the law faculty as an advocate, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, and also, today having a lot of energy within himself, even though I don't think you can, attribute any age for him. He's an ageless person. And our senior, Ram Jethmalani ji, Francis Wong, the president of ILS, Dr. Rajini Gupte, Vice Chancellor, Symbiosis International University, Dr. Vidya Yerwadkar, Pro Chancellor, Symbiosis International University, Mrs. Shakuntala Gurpur, of course, who hails from my own native place, Shashikala Gurpur. The awardees today who are participating in Guru Vandana program, our great Dr. N.R. Madhav Menon ji, Dr. N.L. Mitra, Dr. C.J. Samuel, Dr. Lakshmi Jambolkar, and many others who have been represented here today, distinguished delegates of the International Association of Law Schools 2017 Global Law Deans Forum and Annual Meeting, my beloved students, all the faculties of law of the Symbiosis University, members of the media, brothers and sisters. It's a privilege, particularly to participate in a conference of the distinguished audience. In fact, this is my, if I remember correct, third visit to the Symbiosis University. I always pleasure not to reject any invitation. I am eagerly looking forward to visit this great campus because of the quality of education, because of the dedicated service rendered by Dr. Majumdar and the family and also the faculty of this university. So today we have just heard Justice Deepak Mishra, the Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India. He enlightened us with a great message today for this global conference. In fact, Oliver Wendell Holmes, he once said, I quote, "The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. The law embodies the story of a nation's development through many centuries, and it cannot be dealt with as if it contained only the axioms and corollaries of a book of mathematics." Particularly, our senior advocate Ram Jethmalani represents this message, and he is just with us. This poignant statement made by Justice Holmes and further quoted by Justice Bhagavati assumes even more significance today. The legal systems of all countries have developed through each other's experience, and we have nurtured it. In the Indian context, recent privacy and Aadhaar judgments in particular have symbolized the creative destruction of past approach to fundamental rights. Law is always dynamic. Symbiosis, this great institution, is known for its initiatives at the international front. we are all privileged to know that, more than 85 country students, they come and take education here. I don't think there's any other institution in the country which represents 85 countries. It's a privilege for us, and we are proud about this institution. Under the leadership of Professor S.P. Majumdar, this institute hosts students, from all across the globe. This is enough proof and reason to realize why Symbiosis was chosen for a conference of such magnitude, involving leaders from some of the best law schools in the world. We have in the dais and in the audience legal luminaries such as Professor Dr. Madhav Menon, Professor Dr. K.L. Mitra, Dr. Lakshmi Chambolkar, and these legal legends have sown and nurtured the seeds of legal education in India and shaped sensation of students, educators, and judges. I recall that, when we, in Karnataka, we wanted to have the National Law School University conceptualized. We gave some money, we gave some land. I think there were 2 days, of grilling. The legislators grilled me, saying that, why should you give that much of money to one school, law school? And why should you give that much of land to them? I said, on that day, it is still on the record, in the assembly of Karnataka, I said, this is the law university of future. This has really proved. And it is proved. I must say the entire credit should go to Dr. Madhav Menon, who has worked out, chiseled out the concept of legal education. There are, I think, today 20 such law school universities in the country. I think my ambition was that I came out with the paper. Of course, he also party to, as a law minister, I wanted to have a lot of reforms in legal education. Still, some of them are going on, but we need to do more. Symbiosis International University is also unique in the country. This is one of the few institutions, specifically law schools. Lawyers play an important role in government systems and making remedies accessible to individuals, be it community legal aid, pro bono legal services, or even the recent episode in the United States when American Civil Liberties Union lawyers came to the aid of hundreds of individuals stranded in airports across the United States when the American president's travel ban came into effect. I have long since advocated that legal education is of utmost importance, which is led by an educationist whose passion is notable and inspiring. Both Professor S.P. Majumdar and Dr. Vidya Erwadkar, along with the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajini Gupte, and also Dr. Shashikala Gurpur, who as Director Symbiosis nurtured this great institution. We are gathered to deliberate upon the synergies between educational institutions in the world, and in fact it was then, we need to develop this concept in a big way. Not only to nurture more educational institutions, but bring up the quality educational institutions. So, coming to the optimization of synergies and partnerships between legal institutions, it is pivotal to understand that education crosses all barriers and boundaries. I think Symbiosis is the real living example for that. Today we don't view countries as common law or civil law countries. Rather, we are all united by the idea of furtherance of rights and deriving justice. We view legal systems as tools of social change and progress. We aim to solve social, economic, and legal problems by utilizing our legal systems judicially. This is why conferences such as the one we are attending today are quite important. They help us interact with each other and actualize our common but differential goal. We are in an environment where we can absorb and imbibe each other's perspectives and hold a rational dialogue on important issues. Thus, we create a symbiotic relationship and establish ties that bind. The importance of a strong legal infrastructure and sound administration of justice remains a paramount priority for any country. And to ensure some of the role of universities continues to therefore play an undeniable and indelible part in nation building. The lawyers today are not only robe-clad barristers, they are business consultants, advisors, and deal makers. They scrutinize the structure of the transaction with their legal lens and devise such strategies which, in fact, in the corporate transactions from any potential regulatory bottlenecks. Therefore, sound understanding of business objectives and strategies make their task much easier and more meaningful. Similarly, managers these days do not just require the understanding of financial terminology and sales figures. They need to be aware of all that affects their company's business. There are plethora of laws: company law, competition law, securities law, financial services law, among others. They cannot be expected and they will not be able to handle the business affairs without having working knowledge of what the law is. No doubt, we have different set of professionals dealing with these peculiar issues, but working knowledge makes management easier. The need for a lawyer for business arises in respect of deciding on business structure, raising adequate finance from external and internal sources, signing deals, contracts, or leases, as well as the negotiations in respect of the same, developing a hiring process, being involved in merger and acquisition process, protection of intellectual property, etc. As a corporate affairs minister in the Union government, I happen to author this new company law after 6 or 7 national consultations in the country. One of the primary aims of competition is to diffuse socio-economic power of the incumbents and broaden the economic and social base by encouraging participation of new entrants and thus fostering innovation and growth. It improves consumer welfare by stirring up inter-firm rivalry that compels each firm to excel to satisfy the consumer by offering better deals and newer products with superior quality of low prices. The principal objective of competition law is to foster competition as an instrument for accelerating growth through innovation and economic efficiencies, thus maximizing consumer welfare by offering better products at lower prices. It achieves this objective in 3 ways. 1, prohibiting anti-competition agreements and practices that harm free trade and competition. 2, preventing abuse of dominance and anti-competitive practices that lead to such a dominant position. 3rd, regulating mergers acquisition. Competition law is essentially an economic law. It is anathema to the purists and doctrinaire. Owen Dixon, Chief Justice of Australia, when asked whether it was part of a duty of a lawyer to contribute towards the progress of society, replied it was not. The duty of a lawyer, he said, was, I quote, to keep a hand on and hold steady the framework and foundation of law. We have come a long way a long way since US Supreme Court Judge Justice Brandeis, the author of the famous Brandeis brief that has motivated social and economic legislation in US says, I quote, a lawyer who has not studied economics is very apt to become a public enemy, unquote. Maybe some of you can differ it, but this is not my quote. These are harsh words, but as Lord Keynes said, I quote, words have sometimes to be harsh, seen as they represent an assault on the thought of the unthinking, unquote. An overriding aim of competition law is to promote economic justice. It is a handmaiden of modern economics and should be part of laws that reflect societal values known as sociological jurisprudence, says our own senior advocate Fali Nariman, one of India's foremost jurists. Nonetheless, this concept of economic law anathema to the purists and doctriners. Again, I repeat, in effect, its effective implementation would require a cultural change and change in the mindset of legal produce. Because we have to go a long way to ensure that this culture is developed. The legal fraternity and juries are formidable challenge to use law as a driver of change, innovation, and inclusive growth. This would mean bring goodbye to the groupthink and capitalizing the 5 Ds, disruption of status quo and valuing diversity, dissent, dialogue, and disclosure. Lawyers are heirs to a noble tradition of inventiveness. The most ennobling element of lawyer's profession is that it can ensure justice for its client. Justice is the only weapon that can secure stability to society and provide sustainability to business. As Pope Paul VI said, if you want peace, work for justice. This is the basics. So I'm quite happy that today to associate with this global conference, which is hosted by Symbiosis, particularly Dr. Mujumdar. And very happy to associate with, our Sri Jet Melani, who is a Mahaguru of law. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very erudite address to the gathering. Advocate Ram Jethmalani, Professor Emeritus, Symbiosis International University. He is a member of the Rajya Sabha and has been the former Law Minister of India and former Chairman of the Bar Council of India. He is well known for making representations in landmark cases that brought new facets to legal interpretation in India, and is a senior advocate at the Supreme Court Bar. I now welcome our chief guest, Advocate Ram Jethmalani, to address the gathering.
My friends on the stage and off the stage, of both sexes and of all ages. I will not waste time in calling attention to the presence of these distinguished persons, both on the stage and off the stage, because if you see the program of today, it doesn't ask me to speak on any subject, but it only says that you have 15 minutes. Well, I'll put up with that, but that also requires some kind of accommodation from you. I'm not concerned so much with what has been talked about by my great predecessor, who of course paid a tribute to me. But I must say that today the most important thing to deal with is the misuse of religion and the misuse of the character of politicians. These are two things which require tremendous attention and require a lot of social interest and study. First of all, let me tell you that I am a great, great admirer of the religion of Islam. Though I am not a Muslim, I am a Hindu, but I belong to Sindh, where Hindus and Muslims lived in peace all the time and never did a single riot or anything of that kind take place. But my friends, there is a book which you all must read if you have not read it before. The title of the book is Religion Gone Astray. It's a book which is not written by one person, it is written by three persons. One is a Jewish rabbi, the second is a Christian pastor, and the third is a Muslim imam. Though that book is not written by any Indian, not even a contributor to that book is an Indian, and yet you will find, if you take charge of that book and open it, that the book is dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi. Well, read that book and you will find today that religion is one of the things which is a cause of tremendous trouble, at least in our part of the world. I don't know in other parts from where our foreign guests have arrived. But my friends, every religion has a core and an essence. But every religion has at the same time a lot of disposable stuff. You might call it some completely dispensable stuff, and sometimes it is almost a disgrace to have that a part of the religion. But human intellect must apply itself to the determination of the essence of every religion. And I am the greatest admirer of the Prophet of Islam, because the Prophet of Islam himself gave the essence of Islam to consist of two lines. I wonder if anybody can tell me what those two lines are.